Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday night book study. We are talking tonight about chapters 16 and 17. And oh my gosh, I have to jump right in because it was such an incredible couple chapters. I hope you agreed and you were able to read it. So the first chapter talks about accountability. Okay, we all need to be held accountable, right? That is so important. But what he talked about is how we are going to actively avoid something if it feels painful, right? Think about a child that touches a hot pan. Are they going to learn really quickly that the cost of touching that hot pan is pretty darn high, right? That it is just terrible, and that it's painful. And that is important for us when we're thinking about the cost of our actions or the cost of doing an action, right? So we want to ask ourselves when we're creating habits, what is the cost if I do not stay consistent with this habit? What is it? Or what is the cost if I am consistent with this habit? And when I take action, or when I don't take action. So I actually want to do a little experiment. I hope you all don't think I'm totally crazy, but I want you to get a paper and pen in front of you if you aren't actively taking notes. And I want you to close your eyes. Yes, I'm asking you to close your eyes on our book study. I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from today. You wake up and the sun is beaming on your face. You realize you did it. You achieved your goals. You made it to the goal or the rank or the income. You paid off the debt. You've gone on the trips. You look around the room and there's pictures all over the wall of the amazing trips you've been on with your family, maybe the home you've built, the way you were able to give to ministry. What does that feel like? Feel that moment. And I want you to open your eyes and I want you to write the first 3 words that come to mind. And I want you to feel those words. One of mine was proud. I was proud of myself for what I overcame and achieved, right? I felt super fulfilled because I was able to, push past the hard days and create the life my family deserved. And I was excited for the future. Think about those words. So what is the cost then of not taking action? What is the cost of not showing up in your business? What is the cost of the days that feel hard and you don't want to do your IPA? What is that cost? Because those words, that's your cost. If you aren't going to show up for your business, if you're not going to do your IPA, if you're going to procrastinate and not be consistent, if you're not going to grow personally in this business, that's your cost. And that's what this chapter is talking about, the cost of not taking action. Claire talks about how habit tracking could be a great way for you to begin a good habit and stay consistent. So, what does your goal look like? What does that contract look like for you? And how is it going to help you stay consistent? I actually really chuckled when I read this part because this is something I've done my entire life. If you don't know me personally, my dad is an entrepreneur and he wrote contracts when I was a kid. I had a contract in my playroom as like a 6-year-old. And on the contract, it said, Gia will clean her room every night before bed. And if she doesn't, whatever's left on the floor is thrown away. And we signed it and dated it. Like that was our contract to each other. And while that might sound a little intense, it worked. And I probably need to do it with my kids. But sometimes having that contract and knowing what the cost is going to be is going to keep you super accountable, right? I mean, think about like building a house. You show up with a bunch of wood one day and just start hammering it together. No, you're not going to have a great foundation and a beautiful home, but you actually put a plan together with your whole group of people and you build this beautiful home on a sturdy foundation. Make a contract that is your game plan for whatever habit you're creating or for your dream life in this business. I love the quote, "A goal without a plan is just a dream." We can dream all day long, right? You probably have tons of dreams that you're thinking up in your mind. But if you aren't taking the action and holding yourself accountable somehow, those dreams are never going to turn into reality. And that's so unfortunate because you deserve the life that you've always dreamed of. So how are you going to commit today to making those dreams a reality. Maybe you don't want to do a contract. Maybe that seems like a little too intense. Maybe you want to have like an accountability buddy. I have a power partner. I'm on a Zoom power hour with her almost daily. We hold each other accountable. We talk about, where we're building and where we're growing. She holds me accountable. I hold her accountable. Find somebody that's on your level where you are in your business, doing the things you want to accomplish, and hold one another accountable. I know you've probably heard it a million times in our actual like finding accountability buddies to jump on with you, but it's the same idea. You're 80% more likely to become successful with a buddy or a power partner. So find yourself somebody who you can be accountable with. Let's see. And if you do decide to write out a contract, or you do decide to have those goals and you have that game plan, share it with someone, because it's really easy not to show up on the hard days when you haven't shared what you want to accomplish and who you want to become and what you're going to do and the cost if you don't do it. I actually did this week. I have a personal trainer that I work with, and I have not been consistent since Leaders Retreat at tracking my meals. I've been terrible about it. And I decided, okay, after reading this chapter, I'm going to make a contract-ish with her. And every time I don't track a meal on my app that she can see, I have to do 5 more of these terrible workouts that she has for me. They're called surrenders, and I dislike them immensely. And so you got to know, this entire week, I haven't missed one day putting my meals in. So find something that, you figure out what that cost is going to be. And before I, move on to chapter 17, I want you guys to ask yourself some questions at the end of maybe each day or the week or the month. What if we could all see your daily activity? What if your leader could see your daily activity? What if your downline, the people that you're leading, could see your daily activity? Would you be proud? Would they be proud? They're good questions to ask yourself, because if you can't answer a resounding yes, I'm going to be so proud of the effort I put in, then maybe you need to change up some of your activities and find a way to hold yourself accountable. I want to go ahead and move on to chapter 17. So chapter 17 talked a lot about genes and how they affect your ability to be successful, and how they don't affect your ability to be successful. There was some great references in sports and whatnot in the chapter. Hopefully you read it. But yes, genes will affect your strength zone. And some of us can seem super alike and super different and have completely different strength zones, right? So you should focus on where your strength is. I hope somebody has told you that before, because where your strengths are is where you're going to be most excited and most passionate. And something I want to preface here is, don't let anyone else outside of you determine your strengths. Because if you're allowing outside perspectives to come in and their opinions to tell you where you're strong and where you can succeed, that's not good. That is not what you need to be focusing on, because people are always going to have an opinion, and you need to focus back in on your God-given talent, the talents God gave you, not where, Bob down the street or Christy down the hall or wherever you are in your life, your family member decides that you should be doing what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. That is not what you need to do. You need to find where your heart is happy and focus there, because you have amazing abilities to be successful. I loved how he talked about how genes don't determine your destiny. They determine your areas of opportunity. So you're not predisposed to be successful. There's nothing in your genes that says you absolutely cannot ever do this. I am 5'2", and I decided in high school I was going to run track and run the hurdles. If you've never run hurdles, getting somebody who's 5'2" over a hurdle is not fun. And my knees have scars all over them from it. Doesn't mean I didn't do it. I worked hard, but my genes were not in favor in this situation. And so, just because you have genes in a certain area does not mean you can or cannot be successful at something. But you definitely want to try and work in your strength zones. So direct your effort towards what excites you and matches your natural skills, your ambition, and your ability level. So, like he said, genes do influence a lot. They're key to your personality. That was one place that it really stuck out to me. And a lot of the choices we make and how we make those choices. If you think about the color personalities, if you've never taken that test, it is a great way to kind of see where you lie and learning where other people lie so you can best communicate with people. Or maybe the Enneagram, like that is definitely somewhere where your genes play a big role. He talks about the big five. So the big five, the first one was openness to experiences. So inventiveness versus cautious. I mean, you definitely see this in a lot of personalities. Is somebody more cautious? If you know the color personalities, like a green, where they're going to ask you some more questions and they want to get all the information and see what you're really all about. Or inventiveness or inventiveness, where they're more open, right? They're open to an experience that's new. Maybe a blue, where you're like, oh, I'm so excited to be part of this. Like, this is awesome. It's good to understand that difference. The second one in the big five was that conscientiousness. So organized, super organized to a T. I'm going to make, these goals and this is how we're going to get there. I have a game plan versus that spontaneous, easygoing, like, well, it'll all work out. We'll get there. We'll understand. We'll get there at some point. The third in the big five was extroversion. Are you outgoing or are you solitary and reserved? So introverted, sorry. But yeah, there's a huge difference there, right? And our genes play a big role in this. The fourth was agreeableness. Are you super friendly and outgoing, or is that challenging for you and you kind of are more reserved and are a little bit more nervous about things? The fifth was neuroticism. Are you anxious and intense, or are you confident, calm, and stable? So these are all ways that your genes are absolutely going to influence how you are. But what I want you to understand is your genes nudge you towards what is best in your strengths. Again, they do not determine what you can and cannot do. I want to be really, really clear on what this chapter is not saying. He is not saying that when you focus on your strengths, it's going to be easy. Everything's going to fall in your lap. It's going to be rainbows and butterflies. Nothing's going to be hard. You're just going to fly to the top of your dreams. He is not saying that. He is saying that if you work in your strength zones, it will help you work smarter in your field of favor. So it'll feel a little easier. Maybe on the hard days, it won't be so hard, but it's going to be hard work. Just because this business or whatever you're in your life feels hard does not mean it's not for you and not in your genes or in your strength zone. It is going to feel hard sometimes, and that is a good thing. Nothing worth doing is always easy. If you are sitting there doing nothing and feeling like it's breezy, you're probably not pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. So he is not saying that your genes are going to determine that everything's going to be easy for you. But some of the things you want to ask yourself, how is working with my genes and my personality? How can I find my field of favor? Remember to choose a habit that most suits you. Not the one that's most popular. He talked a lot about the different diets that people would do. He talked about the different workouts that people would do in the book. Find what feels fun and exciting to you and work in that area. Again, it's not always going to be easy, but it's going to be fun because you're going to hopefully enjoy even the hard days. He gave us some questions to ask. What feels like fun to you, but work to others? That could determine kind of where your strength zones are. What makes me lose track of time? Like, where can you just start working and you go? And then you realize, oh, no, darn, I've overdone my time block or whatever it might be. Where do I get greater returns than the average person? So where am I really succeeding? And, maybe come back and help others who aren't in their strength zone there. What comes naturally to me? Those are great questions to ask yourself and really take time to reflect so you can understand where your strengths are. Like, I love being on here with you all talking. This isn't everyone's cup of tea. And so finding where you are in your strength zone will be helpful as you move forward. I loved this quote I heard this week. What is the promise that God made to the world when you were born? Because I promise you, it wasn't that you were going to sit around, do nothing, be mediocre, never have your dream life, always just get by. So work hard and be the person that God, when you were born, said, she's here and she's ready to go. She is going to have an amazing life. You have that ability. You just have to choose to work hard where your strengths are to create what God envisioned in your life. So I also really loved that I liked how he talked about, we're all excited when things are going great and when we're praised. It makes life really fun. But how do you start, right? So how do you get to that point where everybody sees that your consistency is compounding and you're successful? Well, you have to start, and going back a few chapters, make those first habits easy. You don't want to say, okay, I'm going to go from 0 to 100. No, you're going to create a habit and you're going to make it easy. And as it advances, you can improve and add more onto that habit. And when I say easy, again, I don't mean always easy. You're going to hit hard bumps, but have it be something that you can do and accomplish consistently, be excited, and continue to grow in that habit. He also talked in chapter 17 about exploring versus exploiting. And I thought this was really interesting that, like, when things aren't totally going your way and aren't in your strength zone, to explore. And then when they are, you're going to essentially exploit. So you're going to use what's working. I wanted to tell you my perspective on this, because guys, God brought you here into this opportunity for however many years you've been alive. For me, it's 32. I have been exploring. I've been exploring all the things. I've gone to school. I've done different careers. I've tried different businesses. I've done lots of things. I've explored all the things. I truly believe God brought myself and every single one of you here today through all the exploring, and this is your strength zone. There isn't one part of that big five. There isn't one person, maybe somebody who's not nice, but otherwise, take that person out. Otherwise, everybody in that strength or in that big five can make this their strength zone. There is somewhere here where your strengths can absolutely be, exploited, if you use his words. So you absolutely have a place here. And if you feel like it's hard right now and you feel like you're in the valley and you feel like you're doing all the things, if you're showing up consistently and you just don't see that progress, it's coming. It's coming. So keep using what you know works for you, serving others, finding where God wants you to be here, and make it happen. Shift your focus and win in this situation. And if you're not winning, you really aren't winning, figure out why and grow and become your strength zone here. You can make this happen. And let's see, I lost my place in my notes. Let's see. Okay, he talked a lot too about boiling water will soften a potato and harden an egg. And I loved this part of the chapter because, man, how true is that? What works for me might not work for you. What I'm strong in might not be a strength for you, but we are all going towards the same goal of using our God-given talents to grow this business, serve others, and create our dream lives. Every single one of us. I don't know anyone on this team that's not like, I want to grow my dream life. We are not at our ceilings. We're not. I mean, April's not at her ceiling. Brittany's not at her ceiling. Christina's not at her ceiling. Michelle's not at her ceiling. None of us are at our ceilings. We have places we can grow and become more and have big dreams. And in this opportunity, you can absolutely make that happen, no matter if you're on that potato side or that egg side, if you're using his words. So just because we have different natural abilities does not mean you're reaching those ceilings of your abilities. So keep putting in that hard work. And you are going to have to work really hard consistently to make it happen, but it's going to be worth it. couple last thoughts before I let you go. Anytime you're starting something new, or maybe you've been here for a while and you're just trying to figure out your place, it seems like a very elementary drawing, but this is you now. This is your future self, the person you want to be at the end of those 3 words that we talked about in the beginning. We're all on this journey, right? We're coming down, we're doing all the things, and it starts to get right here and get a little bit of pushback. And you start to feel like maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Maybe this is too hard. All of those lies that are right between your ears, right? And usually when this happens, guys, we are just about to jump over to our future selves. And so stop the cycle of quitting and going backwards, because you're getting there. Everything you're doing is bringing you to being your best self. The last quote that I loved from the book before I let y'all go: until you work as hard as those you admire, don't explain their success away as luck, because no one on this team just got lucky. I can tell you, I've been around for 3 years. Nobody just got lucky. Everyone has worked their tushes off and will continue to do that. So you can be successful, so I can be successful, and so our team can be successful. So don't look up at the leaders and think, man, if I could just win like they've won, because they haven't won. They've worked hard and they've made it happen. And you absolutely can too. So I love these chapters. I thought they were fantastic. I hope you did too. And we will move on to discussion.
Thank you so much, G.